Hi everyone, Magnus here. Today I'm going to be covering a highly requested topic, which is that of visualization of the chess pieces, as well as how to get your calculation skills improved, which does go hand in hand with visualization as well. Now, back a couple years ago, I was also struggling quite a lot with board visualization and blundering pieces, one move blunders. Like you make a move onto a defended square, and then you're just like, oh, what? There's just another enemy piece defending it, which you didn't even notice until they capture you. Now, you never want your piece being captured for free to be a surprising move for you, and I have got a method, a training method that I used myself in order to help improve my visualization and calculation skills. This is more beginner based, but also should be very useful for intermediate players, early even to advanced intermediate. So if you do want to find out, please do watch the video. So let's get right into it. Okay, so first things first, I have a pretty useful tip on how you can try and work on your visualization skills without getting overwhelmed by all of the pieces and their possible legal moves in the position. Because at the end of the day, visualization is about being able to sort of internally process the arrows. So like I can draw an arrow for this knight's legal moves right here. So if I draw all of these arrows, of course the knight cannot go here because there is a king here. But if I draw all of these legal moves and then I do that for all of white's pieces, and then so it's just everything, and you can see all of the legal moves. The queen can move all these squares as well, the rook can move here, and of course all the pawn moves as well. But you don't want to put yourself through the pressure and the hassle of having to recognize all of those moves at once, and additionally having to recognize all of the legal moves, more importantly, by your opponent's pieces. Now, the method that I use to narrow down what I used to use when I was getting started, a lot of it becomes more subconscious once you improve your experience. But if you're looking for some immediate improvement, what you can do is only work on trying to visualize the squares controlled by advanced enemy pieces or your own pieces that access enemy territory. Now, what I mean here is that the enemy territory is this side of the board. So when you're trying to visualize about your own pieces, if you're a newer player, you can try and restrict your visualization skills to only accessing this side of the board. So, for example, the only piece right now of ours that can see the enemy side of the board is this bishop right here, and it sees 1, 2, and 3 squares as I have highlighted. Now, in contrast, if you look at our side of the board, which is also very important, you want to try and every move, try and like refresh in your brain what squares your pieces are controlling in the enemy camp, and then try and process what squares your enemy pieces are controlling in your camp. Now, in this situation, actually, I missed that the knight is controlling these two squares in the enemy camp as well, and the bishop controls these three, and also these two over here. So I made a small slip up here. Mostly I was just looking at this diagonal because that one is the most relevant to the black king, but also these squares are also valid in the enemy position. Okay, but now for black, we got to look at all the squares that black is controlling in our side of the board if we don't want to get in trouble and start losing pieces. And those squares are these ones with their bishop, just like R1, except they also have these two with the knight reinforced and pressure our pawn with this knight here and here and here as well. Now, my reasoning for why I want to be looking at square control of our pieces in the enemy position is very useful because it's more likely that you're going to be blundering your pieces when you put them into a loose square potentially in the enemy camp. And if you're not recognizing what squares that your pieces are looking at, as well as potentially the squares that your enemy is looking at. The simple way that you can stop blundering your pieces when you're moving into the enemy position is simply to check the square. So at the moment, you might want to say how many of the black pieces are controlling this square. Well, there's two pawns, okay? And then you can repeat this exercise. Just set up a random position, pick a square in the position, say how many of the black pieces are controlling this square. 1, 2, 3. Okay, and then if you just do that process before you move your knight somewhere, say I want to move the knight here, it's a safe move. It's not a particularly good move because it can simply be kicked back or ignored. Actually, it can't be kicked back because that would hang the f7 pawn, but it can just be castled and ignored. But it is at the same time not a blunder, it's a safe move because there are simply no black pieces that can go here. Now, for the start, this may need to be manually trained because it will be difficult to process subconsciously all of the pieces that can access a certain square. So let's say I pick this square, okay, that's only the queen. Another square, that's just the rook and the knight. Knights go backwards, so that's an interesting one to do. But just go through positions in your games, time yourself, pick squares, and try and calculate how many pieces can access them. Now, for another practical tool that you can use to help yourself, I am going to cut to the solo chess tool from chess.com. Now, I think this tool is very much underused, and people only really treat it as like an offline game, but I used this early on in my chess improvement and found it really, really helped. So I'm going to get to that right now. Okay, so the tool I'm about to show you is called Solo Chess. The way you access it is you go to the More section on chess.com, and it's right under the Opening Explorer tab. And once you click on this, basically this little mini game is designed that you want to try and remove all the pieces off the board by capturing one after another. I think this is an extremely, extremely useful tool for board visualization and trying to make sure you don't hang your pieces anymore on defended squares, and also make sure that you can capture enemy pieces. So the way this goes is you just want to try and make sure you get all your pieces off the board. So as you can see, I'm like using the knight to capture the bishop here because the bishop can't take the knight. You can get two moves here, so I would move the queen first and the rook. Now, yeah, sorry, the way this works is that you can only move a piece twice, so I would be able to move the queen twice, but after the piece moves twice, I can't move it again. And also, I think the king has to be the last piece on the board. So this one would just be like captures, captures. And this one, the king can in fact capture both knights because it is allowed to do that. So you could do something like that. And really, it's just making sure that you can focus in on all of the defended squares here. So we can see that the pawn's moving up the board, the knight's attacking the rook, and the king's attacking the rook. So you can use that as sort of like a, I don't really know what I would call it. Maybe like a nebula or some kind of black hole, I guess, is sort of like everything is collecting on the d4 square because it's all under control. So this one as well. We know that we probably want to end up either here or here because the king can capture twice. So in fact, we can just capture, 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 capture. You probably get the gist. I'll do a couple more. They start to get a little bit harder at 10 when there's a bunch of pieces on the board. At the moment, we're at level 4, so there are 5 pieces. So it's not too bad, but I'm thinking now knight takes, 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 and you want to try and calculate ahead of time rather than just going through it as well, because if you calculate ahead of time, that's really what's going to be working your visualization skills. So this one as well looks like it's take, 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 and then take. Everything comes together on the C1 square. That's how you want to solve it. You want to find your square and which you finish up and try and work backwards. So that should work for that. I'm going to do the next 3, and then I challenge you guys, try and make it to the 10th one, number 10 over here. If you could do that, that'd be very impressive. Let me know in the comments if you're able to achieve it. I'm just going to do 3 more of these ones and then probably finish up. I might actually just fast forward through all 10 of them. Actually, I think I'll do that. So I'll just have it like a high speed so that you guys can see what some of the later levels would look like. So, okay. This one looks like, yeah, I can bring the king to this square, so I can just eat everything in here and then bring the king, so that looks pretty good. Okay. Where's going to be my finish up square? Probably over here, so I can get the horses to eat each other and do all of that, and then my king can take 2 pieces. So yeah, I'm going to have it be speeding up now. Nice. With that one, we are done. Okay. So I really do think that this solo chess, feature on chess.com can really help out your board visualization. Do try it yourself. Also try that exercise that I suggested earlier, where you just go at the end of your game, just pick a position in the middle game. Maybe not the end game because there won't be as many pieces that can access squares, but sometime in the middle game would be a good time to just pick squares in the position and try to count the number of enemy pieces that are attacking it, and also try and find how many of your pieces are controlling certain squares. If you just keep doing this exercise, eventually it should become subconscious, and doing it manually though during games will also immediately help reduce your blunders. So if you guys did find this video useful and interesting, please do consider liking and subscribing, and as always, I'll see you guys in the next video. Bye!